Hello, John from Peter Tyson. To mark Linn's 50th anniversary, they teamed up with Sir Johnny Ive and LoveFrom to create 250 very special edition Sondek LP12-50 turntables. Nigel, our Linn expert here at Carlisle, has kindly agreed to let me film him build said turntable. So, let's just crack on. Linn Products was formed in Glasgow, Scotland in 1973 by Ivor Tiefenbrunn. His son Gilad Tiefenbrunn has been managing director since 2009. In 1972, his first prototype record player was made using the best engineering methods available to him at the time in an effort to eliminate outside influence and vibrations on the turntable and thus delivering the cleanest possible signal and revealing more of the music. And so the obsessional pursuit of perfect audio began. Firmly believing to this day, streaming digital music or playing a record, the biggest gains are made by perfecting the incoming source, regardless of the loudspeakers used. Time to get everything unboxed. The boxes consist of egg-static cartridge, ECOS SE tone arm, Keel subs chassis, a Eureka 2 phono stage with Exact, Radical 2 power supply and speed controller, and the LP12 deck itself with the bedrock plinth, an upgrade from the usual hardwood used on other versions of the LP12, along with a few other subtle changes.
We've got a different finish on the top plate. E-glide viewers will spot we've got rounded corners now. We have a touch sensitive speed control switch, the 3345 on and off. Compressed wood, you can see the layers there. Still signed by the person that built it. It's got the limited edition number 14 of 250. Hinge backplates are different because there's been a totally new redesigned hinge.
Time to get the LP12-50 on the jig so that Nigel can start mounting the components.
This jig allows us to turn it upside down, which is quite useful when you're working on an LP12. There's a lot of stuff that goes on underneath.
First, unbox the Radical power supply to get the turntable motor that will spin the platter.
DC motor, very accurate controlled by the external power supply. Brass inserts into the metal case, so we just nip that up nice tightly. We will check that later.
Next, the tachometer is fitted. This device reads the real-time RPM of the platter and feeds that back to the Radical 2 power supply. Regardless of temperature, belt wear or age of the deck, the record will always play at the correct speed.
And quite ingenious really, the fact that back in the day, I took you back 50 years, these two screw points would still be here, but we'd be using it to bolt a standard motor to the deck. They would be bolted in here, and these two here would be used for adjusting the motor position to get the correct speed. 50 years on.
Of course, yeah, 50 years ago you wouldn't have a speed control like that.
50 years on, and we're using the same holes to bolt down the speed controller circuit board.
Isn't that lovely?
Clever, eh?
No built-in obsolescence here.
No, we're definitely not.
The keel is the suspended part of the turntable that holds the tone arm and the platter. This is to help isolate the sensitive parts of the deck from vibrations in the room and from the loudspeakers, providing a cleaner signal and revealing more of your music.
Yeah, because the design was to have sort of curved edges, so we've got curves rather than the sharp edges on the corners. And that matches up with the curves of the deck. Johnny Ive, who's his LoveFrom team, were part of the major part of the design process on this for producing the anniversary edition. They're very much like the curvedness of things and the flat button and things like that.
The LP12-50 is a collaboration with LoveFrom and Sir Johnny Ive. He's best known for his work at Apple, where he served as Senior Vice President of Industrial Design and Chief Design Officer. LoveFrom is co-founded by Sir Johnny Ive and is a creative collective of designers, architects, musicians, filmmakers, writers, engineers and artists. The keel also holds Linn's carousel bearing, an integral part of the Sondek LP12. The carousel bearing was released in 2020 after 12 months of extensive research and development to reduce rotational friction and chatter and add greater stability for the platter. At the end of the spindle there's a point that comes into contact with the thrust pad. It's so finely polished it looks like a mirror.
So under here, that's the inner platter, and on the end of there, that is the single point bearing. That is what sits against the thrust plate in the bearing housing.
I believe that's where the Linn K logo comes from, and why there's a K in all the model names, because of that single point bearing.
That is correct. Tighten these down to, having done this for so long, I tend to know roughly where they need to go to start with. Least weight on this one because there's nothing on this side of the deck. So we've got a slightly less weight out of this one, so that doesn't go down quite as far. This has got most of the weight because the main part of the arm's there with the counterweight, etc. So we'll take this down further.
All Linn experts have a torque wrench built into the wrist, don't they?
They do indeed, that's absolutely right. There used to be a phrase back in the day, there was tight, effing tight, Linn tight, and broken.
Flip the Sondek back the right way and connect to the tachometer. Nigel adds oil mixed with graphite that needs a good shake and some warmth to help it flow from the bottle. The owner will always have a little bit of Nigel's warmth.
Warmth, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Whilst the oil settles, we can unbox the ECOS SE tone arm. Then comes the delicate job of mounting the ecstatic cartridge.
Slightly fiddly job, but somebody's got to do it.
Might as well be you, Nigel.
Yeah, might as well. I have to go to the van to get my magnifier because I won't be able to see otherwise.
That's an age thing, that, mate. There's got to be a light on them. Please tell me there's a light.
Oh, there is, but the battery's gone flat because I never use it.
Oh, very
but there is a light, yeah.
Very 2001 Space Odyssey, yeah?
Yeah, but I need these because I just can't see close enough.
Screw on the counterweight and it's ready to go onto the LP12-50. It's very important to level the turntable on the jig at this stage so that everything can be aligned accurately. With everything level, Nigel can add the lacquered aluminium magnesium alloy outer platter.
The mat coming in its own little record sleeve and the timeline showing from 1973 to 2023.
Nice. Now the top part of the LP12-50 is built, Nigel can fine-tune the suspension.
In practice, it's never going to move this much. It'll move tiny amounts. We just want to make sure that we can bounce it a decent amount. It doesn't wobble around in a sort of an even manner, and that it stays level. It goes up in a sort of pistonic motion, if you like.
Once the suspension is correctly set, the deck is flipped once more so that the cushioning felt strips can be added, ready for the bottom plate. This is where the Eureka 2 phono stage lives. The power and source cables are dressed in a particular way to minimise any interference. Now it's just a case of securing the phono stage onto the LP12-50, tightening all of the screws and flipping back over for the last time for the final bit of setup. And then time for the drive belt, but hang on, even that has a procedure.
Pickle or pear. So pear has got a bump at the bottom,
Yeah,
and a pickle is more uniform.
yeah,
So we flip it inside out. Ask ourselves,
a lovely pickle.
is it a pickle like that, or is it a pear, or is it both the same? Well, that's more of a pear. It's got a bigger bum. So I'll go back to that one, and that one's more of a pickle because it's more uniform.
Nice. I thought that's a very Linn thing. Like just picking the right way around for the belt. You would think it would make no difference whatsoever, and
Yeah.
on its own it probably doesn't.
Yeah.
But when you mix that with 100 or 1,000 other teeny changes,
Yeah,
that's what creates Linn.
yeah.
It's that perfection. I bet you didn't expect to talk about pickles and pears in a turntable video, did you? Rebuild and refit the platter with a black strip for the tachometer readings. The tone arm can then be balanced, the tracking force and anti-skate set, and the lifting mechanism tested. Maybe an odd thing to say about turntable, but it smells really nice.
It does. There is a good smell coming from that bedrock stuff. For playing, we generally say lid off, so you can
I was just going to ask you that.
Yeah, so we can lift the whole lid for playing. It is, we call it a lid, it's a dust cover.
Yeah. Because I suppose that's catching vibrations from your speakers and all.
Yeah, if you leave it up,
through the deck,
that's like a big bucket of gathering stuff.
Yeah.
If you leave it down, it's not so bad, but off's the recommended.
Okay. And there you have it, a beautiful Linn Sondek LP12-50, built and once cleaned will be ready for its very lucky owner. What makes the LP12 special to you?
Special to me because it's a lifetime love. Well, I'm older than 35, but 35 years of Biffin. 35 years of building them, setting them up. They're beautifully built, they're well engineered, they're consistent. They're reliable, they're straightforward to work on, they're very common sense, it's beautifully engineered. The modular nature of it, the fact that I can take an old one, make it better, take a new one, make it better, depends what level you want to buy in at. The sound quality is peerless in my view, and every time we do an upgrade, we hear the difference.
This wasn't planned, but the day after we filmed, a customer of Nigel's bought in his 1974 Linn Sondek LP12, just for a bit of remedial maintenance. It's a testament to the build and engineering that the original not only still worked beautifully, but was kept in such fantastic condition. It was nice to place them together and admire these two legends, past and present. So that's it. A big thank you to Nigel, our Linn expert, for letting me just be part of building this beautiful, iconic turntable. It's quite fascinating to see it from start to finish and how you build it, and just the engineering, the love that goes into making one of these is been brilliant. So big thank you. If you need any help, any advice with Linn at all, you can come here and see Nigel at our Carlisle branch where I am, or you can go to our Newcastle branch where Martin and Danny will be happy to help. And big honour, because you've done all the work in this one, you get to sign off the video. I wouldn't do this for anyone, but you'll see me in the next video. Take care.
You'll see John in the next video. Take care.
Perfect.